Okay, let's dive into this. Have you ever been scrolling through social media or just living your life and you see a coworker who makes the exact same salary as you and they just seem to be living on another planet financially? Well, we're going to unravel that mystery today. And spoiler alert, it comes down to some really simple, almost boring math that quietly makes people rich.
You know this feeling? It's that pit in your stomach when you're sitting in a parking lot, literally calculating if you can afford both the name brand pasta sauce and the good toilet paper. And then you open your phone, and boom, there's your coworker clinking glasses on a beach somewhere, again. It's frustrating. You work just as hard. So what gives?
So you start running through the possibilities, right? Did they get a secret inheritance? Are they just drowning in credit card debt? Well, 9 times out of 10, the answer is nope. It's neither of those things. The secret is usually a single, boring financial decision they probably made years ago, set up in about 30 minutes, and then just whoosh, let it run.
To really get this, let's look at a tale of two paths. We've got two people starting from the exact same point, but their lives are going to end up looking wildly different.
So, let's meet Jessica and Amanda. They're both 28, they both make $65,000 a year. On paper, they are the same person. But there's one tiny, consistent choice that's about to carve a massive canyon between their financial futures.
Let's hit the fast forward button. By age 35, Jessica's already got over 160 grand invested. Amanda, just 31,000. Now, jump to 55. Jessica is a millionaire sitting on $1.5 million, while Amanda is starting to panic with only 218,000. And by retirement, oh man. At 65, Jessica is totally free with $4.3 million. Amanda is facing the reality of working until she's 72 with less than $500,000. The only difference? Jessica automated a $500 a month investment. Amanda had a car payment for that exact same amount.
So how in the world does $500 a month explode into millions? It's not magic, I promise. It's something I like to call the invisible growth machine. It just works silently in the background, doing almost all of the heavy lifting for you.
Now check this out. This is where it gets really wild. If you do what Jessica did, invest $500 a month for 40 years, you'll put in a total of $240,000 out of your own pocket. But your final balance can grow to over $4 million. Look at this chart. The market, this growth machine, does over 92% of the work. Your only job is to feed it a little bit of money, consistently.
But here is the big warning that nobody ever gives you. The beginning is going to feel impossibly slow. Building your first $100,000 is like pushing a giant boulder up a very steep hill. You're doing all the work, and the market's help feels, well, invisible. This is the danger zone. This is where most people get discouraged and just quit, thinking it's not working.
But once you get that boulder to the top of the hill, it starts rolling all by itself. And this slide shows you just how fast it picks up speed. It might take you 10 years of grinding to hit that first 100K. But to go from 1 million to 2 million, that only takes about 6.5 years. Your money is now making more money than you are. That's the snowball effect.
And that's why starting early is everything. Seriously, look at this. Investor number 1 invests for just 10 years, from 25 to 35, and then never puts in another penny. Investor number 2 waits until 35, but then invests for the next 30 years straight. Who wins? The early investor ends up with over $175,000 more by retirement. The person who waited can never catch up, even though they invested 3 times as much of their own money. Time, not the amount, is your most powerful weapon.
Okay, so if this compounding machine is so incredibly powerful, what's stopping it from working for everybody? Well, usually it's a few common money leaks, these secret wealth destroyers that are quietly draining your future, and honestly, our culture encourages them.
And first up, we have the big one, that shiny, brand new $70,000 truck. In our world of social media, it feels like the ultimate symbol of making it. But financially, it's often a trap in disguise. So what's the real cost of that truck? It's not the monthly payment. No, it's the opportunity cost. It's what that money could have been doing. If you'd invested the money for that truck payment instead, over 35 years, it could have grown to nearly $2 million. You're literally trading a multi-million-dollar retirement for heated leather seats.
And hey, it's not just the huge purchases, it's death by 1,000 cuts too. The average American is spending over $500 a month on things like subscriptions and food delivery. And yeah, it seems kind of manageable month to month, but that same money, if you invested it, could become over $1.2 million in 30 years. Every month you're making a choice between a little bit of convenience now and retiring years earlier later.
And then there's this newer, kind of sneakier trap, buy now, pay later services. They are brilliant because they make spending feel painless. They split a $200 purchase into 4 easy payments of $50. So your brain doesn't register the cost as $200, it registers it as $50, tricking you into spending way more than you planned.
And here's the dirty secret of their business model. It works because people mess up. A staggering 41% of people using these services have missed at least one payment. And that's when those interest-free deals suddenly turn into a fee-generating machine. It's a system designed to look like a helping hand, but it's built on the high probability that you'll eventually slip up.
So if the math is so simple and the traps are so obvious, why on earth do we keep falling for them? Look, the problem isn't that you're bad at math. It's that your brain, your own wiring, is actively working against you.
See, your brain is hardwired with this thing called present bias. It evolved for immediate survival, finding berries to eat right now, not to understand sacrificing $500 today for millions of dollars in 40 years. That future reward feels fake. It feels abstract. So your brain chooses the immediate dopamine hit of spending almost every single time.
And what's even worse is that financial stress itself sabotages your thinking. Researchers at Harvard found that just worrying about money puts what they call a bandwidth tax on your brain. It can lower your functional IQ by up to 13 points. When you are constantly running those survival calculations in your head, you just have less mental energy left to make smart, long-term decisions.
Okay, so we've talked about the problem, the math, the psychology behind it all. But what's the actual actionable solution? Well, here's the best part. It is incredibly simple, and it takes less than half an hour to set up for the rest of your life.
The key is to keep it boring and simple. You don't have to be a stock-picking genius. You don't have to be Warren Buffett. Instead, you can just invest in something called a low-cost S&P 500 index fund. Think of it like buying a tiny, tiny slice of the 500 biggest and most successful companies in America, all at once. It's diversified, it's simple, and it has historically returned about 10% a year. And these options from places like Fidelity, Vanguard, or Schwab cost next to nothing to own.
And here it is, the entire plan. 5 steps. Step 1, open a Roth IRA. It's just an investment account that lets all your money grow completely tax-free. It takes maybe 20 minutes online. 2, link your bank account. 3, buy one of those simple index funds we just talked about. 4, set up an automatic monthly transfer. Even if you can only start with $50, just start. And the most important step of all, step 5, forget the account exists. You have to automate the process to outsmart your own brain's biases. Let the system run in the background while you go live your life.
So this brings us all the way back to those 2 paths. 40 years from now, 2 versions of you exist. One of them is financially free, not worried about bills, able to do what they want. The other one is trapped, still working, still stressed. The only thing that decides which of those versions becomes real is the choice you make to set up that simple, automated plan. The math is relentless. It doesn't care about your excuses, and it doesn't wait. It's already started. So, which path are you gonna choose?